Well, it is a tough environment for retail with many of the big names struggling to survive in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. So for more on this, we want to bring in Ron Johnson. He's the CEO of Enjoy. He's also the former CEO of JCPenney and the former head of retail operations at Apple. And Ron, it's great to have you back on the show. We'd love to get your thoughts just about what is happening right now, because when you take a look at the retail sector at this point, we're on track to have the highest number of retail bankruptcies in a decade this year. So help us get a better understanding of what's going on in this sector and whether or not you think that we will continue to see more bankruptcies here from the retailers in the future.
Yeah, it's great to talk with you again. When I was on the show in March, it was right when we had our first shutdowns. And I remember saying, unfortunately, that the question in retail boardrooms won't be, when do I reopen? It's, will I reopen, or how many stores will I reopen? And that's largely true. We've had record bankruptcies. And that's because the pandemic has reordered life as we know it. It's changed how we work. It's changed how we shop. It's changed how we go to school. It's changed how we travel. And unfortunately, people develop new habits quickly. And now that we're 20 weeks into the shutdown, like in California, people are more entrenched with things like online shopping, staying at home, delivery, and it's really hurting the physical store. So if you look at data on traffic to physical stores like malls, it's not coming back at all. The Nordstrom family said today in Women's Wear Daily that they're just accepting this is the traffic they're going to get. So we had hoped for a recovery to old habits of going to malls and shopping. People aren't doing that. They're visiting the stores that stayed open, that were there at the beginning of the pandemic, and those stores are surviving. But those that kind of shut down or were in closed environments are not bouncing back.
I just wanted to ask you about an operation that you used to run, which were Apple's retail stores, and that they've been opening and shutting and then reopening and reshutting, and what you make of that. Does that seem to make sense from your understanding where you sit?
It is. If I'm Apple, Apple is the world's most valuable company and has a relationship of trust with its employees. They trust everything Apple does. They trust their privacy. They trust their security. They trust the quality of the products. And so Apple's not going to do anything that would create a risk in that relationship with the customer. Apple's got a variety of channels they sell products through. They've got a very strong online store. So they're being exceptionally careful, which is, I think, the right thing for Apple. The Apple Store is a place to gather, right? It's a place to learn. It's a place to get help. It's a place to engage. And those are the kind of things you have to be very careful of in a public environment today.
Hey, Ron, I want to get back to what you said about the malls, because you look at where things are right now in terms of the virus. It's hard to imagine people wanting to pack the malls the way they did pre-pandemic. I mean, what kind of closures are we talking about? We've seen the retail closures, the individual brands, but in terms of the malls themselves, is there a fundamental shift away from them that we're seeing right now?
Yeah, we all know that. It's the U.S. has a handful of great malls, like Stanford Shopping Center near here. They'll survive, but they've already re-merchandised them all. They've moved away from tired, large, older retail stores to the new exciting formats, and they have a good mix of food and things you can engage in and common space, and those places will do great. But even those are kind of struggling right now because people are not comfortable going out largely in public. But the tired malls, the enclosed shopping malls, largely through the Midwest, second-tier locations, those are the ones that are really going to struggle. And as Penny's closes down and Macy's shuts stores, the anchors go, the interior stores start to go, you hit a critical mass where it's pretty hard to survive. So unfortunately, those malls are going to really have trouble.
Yeah, well, Ron, unfortunately, we're out of time, but I know we'd love to get you back on the program because there's much more we'd like to talk to you about just in terms of retail and where we go from here and what the future holds for the sector. So we hope to have you back on the program again soon. Thanks so much for taking the time to join.
And I look forward. I'm sorry to be kind of negative, but it's just the truth right now. It's really hard to be a retail store.
I know you have to be a realist, and sometimes the truth hurts a little bit. So we appreciate you. We appreciate the honesty. Ron Johnson, thanks so much for
good.
Thank you.